Hey there, and welcome. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your bank account and just felt like your money vanished into thin air? If so, you're not alone. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and go from financial mystery to a really powerful new money mindset. Let's dive in.
It's the big question, isn't it? Where does my money go? The month starts out fine, you feel like you have a plan, but then somehow, by the end, you're just left scratching your head. It's a frustrating feeling for sure, but it's a cycle we can absolutely break, just by understanding the story our spending is trying to tell us.
So let's try and reframe this a bit. This is not about boring spreadsheets or telling yourself no all the time. Think of it more like becoming a financial detective. We're going to follow the clues, we're going to uncover the patterns, and we're going to solve the case of the missing money once and for all.
All right, so the very first clue, and honestly the most important one in this whole investigation, is learning to see the difference between two simple little words, needs and wants. This is the absolute foundation of everything.
So what is the real difference here? Well, needs are your non-negotiables. We're talking food, shelter, utilities, your health, the stuff you absolutely have to have for a stable life. Wants, on the other hand, they're the fun upgrades. You know, the fancy dinners, the latest smartphone, the brand name jacket. They make life more enjoyable, for sure, but you could survive without them.
Here's a super simple but powerful little tool for your detective kit. Before you buy something, just take a second, pause, and ask yourself this one honest question. Your answer is going to immediately tell you which category that expense falls into and help you make a much more conscious decision.
Now, once we have that knowledge, we can apply it to a really practical framework. You've probably heard of the 50-30-20 rule. It's popular for a reason. Basically, it suggests aiming for 50% of your income to cover your needs, 30% for your wants, and a really crucial 20% for savings and investments. See, the goal is not to eliminate your wants, but to find a balance that actually works for you in the long run.
But why do we even want the things we want? I mean, to really get a handle on our money, we have to go deeper than just the what and start understanding the why. So let's look at a classic psychological framework that kind of reveals the deeper truth behind our spending habits.
And this is it, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, the theory here is pretty simple. All of our actions, and that includes our spending, are driven by a deep desire to satisfy a series of needs, starting from the most basic stuff at the bottom and working our way up.
So, at the very bottom, the foundation of the whole pyramid, you've got your physiological needs. This is the stuff that's totally non-negotiable for survival, right? We're talking rent, groceries, utility bills. These are the expenses that literally keep us alive and functioning. Okay, so once those basics are covered, we naturally move up a level to safety. This is where spending on things like health insurance or fixing your car, or, and this is a big one, building an emergency fund comes in. These expenses give us that sense of security, that buffer against all the unknowns life can throw at us. And next up, we've got our social needs. I mean, we're social creatures, right? It's just baked into who we are. This level explains exactly why we spend money on going out with friends, buying birthday gifts for family, or maybe joining a local sports team. It's all spending driven by our fundamental need for connection.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. This esteem level is often where our want spending kicks into high gear. This is all about our desire for respect, for status, and it can be what drives us to buy brand name things or the latest tech. I mean, think about it. So much advertising is aimed right at this need, promising us that some product will make us feel more successful or admired.
And finally, at the very top of the pyramid, we have self-actualization. This is all about becoming the best version of yourself, reaching your full potential. Spending here is about personal growth, maybe taking a course you're passionate about, pursuing a creative hobby, or traveling to expand your horizons. This is the kind of spending that truly fulfills you on a deep level.
Okay, so we've dug into the why behind our spending, those deep psychological needs that drive our choices. So how do we translate all that understanding into actual control? Well, we need a tool, and that tool is a budget. So let's build our action plan.
I absolutely love this quote. A budget is not a cage, it's a diagnostic tool. It's like a financial X-ray. It gives you a clear, totally honest picture of what's really happening with your finances so you can figure out how to make them healthier.
And here's what that X-ray can actually look like. Now, this template is in Spanish, but don't worry, let's just walk through it real quick. On the left, mis ingresos, that's just my income. On the right, mis gastos, my expenses. But you know what? The language doesn't even matter. The key takeaway here is the detail. Seeing everything laid out like this, that is the crucial first step to gaining control.
The process itself is actually pretty straightforward. It just boils down to these 5 steps. First, you identify all your income, every single cent that comes in. Second, you track and classify all your expenses, even those tiny ant expenses like your daily coffee. Third is just simple math, income minus expenses. That leads you right to step 4, analyze the result. And finally, this is where the real magic happens, step 5, set financial goals. You use this newfound clarity to build a real plan for your future.
Okay, that 4th step, analyzing the results, that is the moment of truth. This is where all the detective work pays off and you finally get a crystal clear picture of your financial reality.
So after you do the math, your budget is going to fall into one of 3 categories, which you can see right here. If your expenses are more than your income, that's a deficit. If they're pretty much equal, that's equilibrio or a balanced budget. And if your income is greater than your expenses, you have a superdebit, a surplus. So the big question becomes, what do you do with that result?
If you have a surplus, first of all, that's awesome. That is a massive opportunity. You can put that extra money to work. You can build up your emergency fund, you can attack high-interest debt, save for a huge goal like a down payment on a house, or you can start investing to build real long-term wealth.
Now, if you find yourself in a deficit, please do not panic. This is not a failure. It's a discovery. It's just information you can act on. It just means it's time to put that detective hat back on. Hunt for those unnecessary expenses. Start comparing prices before you buy. Get honest with yourself about emotional spending and practice saying no to unplanned purchases without feeling guilty about it.
And that really brings us to the ultimate takeaway. You have to forget this idea that a budget is about restriction. It's not about what you have to give up. It's all about what you stand to gain. A budget is the single most powerful tool for turning your dreams into an actual, achievable plan. So I'll leave you with this question. What dream will your budget help you achieve?